What does success really mean if so many of us feel miserable chasing it? I used to think I knew the answer. Success to me was the job title, the steady income, the apartment that had way more space than I needed. I followed the script: college, career, promotions, but still woke up tired, restless, and disconnected from any sense of purpose. And I know I'm not alone. Over half of all workers today say they're burned out. It's a number that keeps climbing. Nearly 80% would turn down a job if it meant giving up flexibility. Numbers like these show a change is happening. Beneath the surface, a rebellion is underway, as more people begin to question if the old definition of success still serves us. We were promised fulfillment if we followed the rules. But what if those rules were written for a world that no longer exists? The pressure to succeed hasn't gone away, but the rewards feel less now. The cost is our time, health, relationships, and our sense of wonder. We become so caught up in just getting through the week that we lose touch with what it really means to live. Positive change in your life doesn't always require you to quit your job or make some dramatic move somewhere. Sometimes it begins by noticing when your current path no longer fits and allowing yourself the time to think if a different way might be possible. Questions like that for me felt impossible to ignore. I began to think maybe I wasn't lost, and I was just starting to wake up. Like so many others, I started out believing in the system, trusting its promises, and expecting that if I worked hard and stayed on the path, I'd be taken care of. I went to school chasing that dream, but reality set in quickly. Student loans piled up. My car broke down almost every week. I worked 2 part-time jobs, but it still wasn't enough to cover daily expenses and my car repairs. I was doing everything I was supposed to, and it still felt like I was drowning. I felt stuck and exhausted, constantly trying to keep up with a life that I couldn't afford to keep doing anymore. So I made a choice. I joined the Navy, searching for some kind of way forward when I felt lost and desperate for change. I became a hospital corpsman and spent the next several years moving all over the country. Groton, Connecticut, Newport, Rhode Island, San Antonio, Texas, Ventura, California. The Navy gave me stability and even a sense of purpose. But somewhere along the journey, I began to contemplate what I was chasing and why I was doing it. The longer I stayed within the system, the more I sensed the truth. Happiness might not be waiting at the end of the climb after all. Maybe happiness existed somewhere in the moment alone, doing what I enjoyed, and in the spaces that existed in between all the effort. That realization hit me when I looked around and looked at the life that I'd built, the one I always thought I wanted, and saw that it still didn't feel like my own. Change rarely feels easy. The hardest steps are the ones we take when everything feels uncertain. Just a soft voice inside, insisting that there must be more than this. About a year before I left the Navy, I bought a van. I began to let go of everything, shedding clutter, comfort, and all the expectations that never belonged to me. A friend of mine helped me build out the rig and added a bed. Just learning to live with the essentials felt so freeing to me. For the first time in a while, I finally felt like I was building something for myself. When I hit the road, I didn't know exactly what I was searching for, but I did know what I need to leave behind. After my service ended, I enrolled at Colorado State University to study natural resource management. When I'm not studying for my classes, my days are filled with new adventures on the road and moments of unexpected beauty. I try to keep things simple, appreciate having less, and stay open and curious about whatever comes my way. This past year has been one of growth, of both wins and hard lessons, of realizing how much I already have when I stop trying to prove myself. This journey has been about letting go, while slowly discovering a life that reflects the person I'm becoming. What no one tells you is that courage sometimes means leaving behind a life that looks perfect on paper in order to create one that feels right to live. But somewhere along the way, I stopped chasing society's version of success and started searching for what is meaningful and true to me. When I first moved into the van, I didn't realize how much of my old life that I was still carrying. I had to rent a small storage unit to keep all my belongings. It took me a long time to figure out what I needed. Each box and bag was filled with the memories of who I had been, packed with all the remnants of my former routines and dreams. Every object felt tied to a story I was afraid to let go. But after living in such a small space like this, you start to learn what really matters to you. I kept what I needed and released everything else. At first, letting go was hard, to watch years of my things just disappear. But with each item I gave away, a new sense of relief and freedom settled in. More space opened up around me physically as well as mentally. As I let things go, I found clarity replacing clutter that was once a part of my life. With fewer distractions in my life, I could start to see the abundance around me. As I began my travels, I discovered how much I enjoyed the value of presence. I found that living in the moment brought me more joy than any collection of possessions ever could. Creating memories takes up no space. They only demand that you have the time to make them. With this new lifestyle, I had less stuff, but way more time than I used to. When you live with less, every experience becomes more memorable. You stop trying to own moments and start to fully feel them. With van life, the world becomes your living room. Chasing the light from sunrise to sunset shapes your days. And the people that you meet show you that the true wealth lies in all the experiences that you gain along the way. Some out there will call this minimalism. I think of it as returning to balance with myself. I like to measure life not by what I hold, but what out there holds meaning to me. Redefining success starts with letting go. Only when you release what no longer serves you can you make space for what matters most to you. A life not measured by your possessions, but by the memories and meaning that you create for yourself along the way. When I first stepped away from the 9-to-5 world, I didn't realize just how tightly my life had been scheduled. It was claimed by my job in healthcare with the military, and the countless other commitments that I made. For years, I measured my worth by productivity alone. Rest always felt undeserved. If I wasn't busy working on something, I believed that I was falling behind. The pursuit of money and status has a funny way of tricking you into believing that being busy equates to having any meaningful value in your life. But when I finally broke free from that illusion, I started to experience time in a new way. My days opened up, and I was free from the constant distraction of deadlines and expectations. There was finally room to breathe and think, to just exist. When I finally slowed down, I realized how much beauty a single day can hold, once I stopped rushing just long enough to see it. The joys of daily life became impossible to ignore. These small moments became their own kind of wealth. The more time I had, the less I felt the need to spend on material possessions. With no rent, no commute, and fewer bills, I found that I could live with far less money than I once believed. It turns out that you don't really need that much to be happy. What I actually needed was time. I had the time to fully inhabit my days, to pursue what moves me, connect deeply with others, and savor moments of stillness without any kind of guilt or being rushed. I felt like it was the first time that I could lean into more playful things that I have denied myself for so long. I felt so much more energy to dedicate to the creative projects that I've always wanted to do. Completely owning my time has given me what no paycheck ever could. The ability to choose what truly matters each day, and the freedom to live on my own terms. I may earn less now, but my days are richer and more fulfilling. True success isn't measured by your income, but by how fully you experience your own life. It's way too easy to live life on autopilot, take things for granted, and not appreciate the time that you have. Many people spend years chasing money, but I will gladly sacrifice that money for more time. It's the one thing that you can never get back. It's far more valuable. I think that's the true measure of success, not by how much money you've made, but by how often you wake up feeling fulfilled and free to shape your day on your own terms. When I first set out on this journey, I was met with a lot of questions. Some were asked out of curiosity, but most were raised in doubt of my decision. My friends and family wondered why I would ever want to give up the stability that I built for myself, whether I wanted an actual home or if I was afraid of falling behind. At first, I tried to explain that I wasn't running from responsibility. I was working to build something fulfilling for myself. I was trying to build a life full of freedom and authenticity, one that felt like my own and not someone else's. But it's hard to explain freedom to someone who's never lived without seeking permission. From a young age, we're taught to chase safety, to build lives that look impressive on paper, even if they don't actually feel that great to live. We're taught to stay within the rails and play it safe. Never take risks if you can avoid them. And sometimes daring to break from that mindset can feel like you're breaking an unspoken rule. But I've learned that real freedom comes from releasing the need for approval or understanding of others, especially those tied to old or outdated systems. That first morning, when I woke up in the van with no agenda, I realized just how much of my life had been shaped by all these expectations of others. Suddenly, nobody was telling me where to be, and there were no tasks waiting to be done. Just open space and my realization that I could finally write my own story. That kind of freedom is both exciting and terrifying. You have to be the one who decides what really matters to you. Freedom is waking up and choosing which responsibilities you'll carry. It's guided by your own beliefs rather than anyone else's expectations. Sometimes you find yourself creating a path that others may never understand. Naturally, there are challenges with this. There's the uncertainty, of course, the long stretches of solitude, and the constant balancing act. Wanting that life of simplicity, but still needing to create some kind of stability for yourself, and cover the costs associated with the realities of daily living. But the trade-off of this is being able to wake up each day and know that this life I created is mine. Letting go of the need for any kind of approval allowed me to connect with my own energy again. Freedom does come with its own cost, the gravity of having to make choices yourself. There's no rule book or anyone telling you what to do. It means being a container for both fear and enchantment, fully aware that you alone are responsible for the path that you choose. That realization changes everything. Suddenly, it doesn't matter how the world sees you. What really matters is how you see yourself once all the distractions fade away. Some might call that unconventional. I call it being honest with myself. I've learned that freedom means refusing to let the system define your worth. Success is measured by the courage it takes to listen when your heart calls you to chart a new course, rather than by how closely you follow the map. Freedom isn't found in running away, but in remembering that we were always meant for something bigger than the limitations that we once accepted for ourselves. When I first experienced freedom, I believed that I arrived at my destination. After years spent chasing schedules and clinging to stability, the silence of an unscripted life felt like what I've been looking for. But over time, I've realized that freedom isn't the end of the journey. It's just the beginning. When all the distractions fall away, you're left with this open and undefined space. For years, I relied on others telling me what to do. There were always specific steps to reach a goal. That didn't exist anymore. It felt like I was drifting, sleeping under open skies, waking up wherever I parked, and letting each day unfold without a plan. There is beauty to be found in that freedom. But because I had too much of it, at times it felt like there was a sense of aimlessness. Eventually, the peace I found turned into anxiety. I discovered that comfort can be just as numbing as the chaos that I had before. Freedom had given me room to breathe, but purpose and focus gave me the direction I needed. I began to see that growth often begins the moment you intentionally step outside your comfort zone and seek new experiences. From leaning into what challenges you, rather than staying where it feels easy. Comfort keeps us standing still, while purpose pushes us forward, even when the way ahead is not clearly defined. When you rise with intention and clarity, you begin building something meaningful, even if no one else sees it yet. For me, that intention revealed itself slowly, in the stories I told, in the places I explored, and the reminder that my work could help others see the world in a new way. I stopped chasing the version of success others expected, and began creating a life grounded in what matters to me. My sense of purpose evolved from small, steady actions that I took daily. Writing, learning, filming, and showing up each day for what matters most to me. Gradually, I began to understand that fulfillment comes with living in energetic alignment with my values. Living with purpose isn't easy. It calls for constant self-reflection and the flexibility to grow and change along the way. Purpose calls you to show up and put in the daily effort even when no one is watching. It encourages growth that often happens beneath the surface. It motivates you to keep moving towards something meaningful that only you can feel and sense. Life feels fun again when you find the courage to move through uncertainty and setbacks. And there is so much uncertainty and setbacks out there. The moments that matter most are the ones where you continue to show up for yourself, even during difficult times. Comfort brings brief moments of peace, while purpose creates a lasting sense of fulfillment that endures. It's what builds resilience and shows you your reasons for building this path, seeking growth and expansion rather than trying to escape. Through this journey, I've come to see true success as waking each day with a reason that inspires you to move forward. It's found in creating something authentic to you, even when it feels scary to do it. Success is the belief that no matter how messy or uncertain your days may be, you are living them with your highest realizations. Freedom taught me to release what no longer served me and embrace the unknown. Purpose gave me the courage to start fresh and move forward with intention. I think real success is found in absolute commitment, devoting yourself fully to what matters most to you, even if no one else out there understands your reasons. When I first set out on this journey, I believed that success was something that had to be earned. Some arbitrary checklist of achievements, degrees, titles, and tangible rewards. But somewhere along the way, I realized that success isn't about reaching a simple destination. It's a way of being, woven into the everyday choices and moments that shape who you become. Security comes from the courage it takes to release what no longer serves you, rather than from what you own. The time that belongs to you matters more than the hours that you dedicate to work. Fulfillment comes from having the heart to listen when life calls you somewhere new, to embrace uncertainty instead of only choosing what feels safe. It's important to let your purpose guide you, and you might have to step outside of your comfort zone to find it. It's a confirmation that what you're building reflects your highest self. Success goes beyond wealth, status, or recognition. It takes shape and alignment when your life reflects your deepest values. In gratitude for another day to create, connect, and grow. I once believed that fulfillment would only come when I reached certain milestones in my life. But what matters most is presence, and being here for the moments that make life meaningful. It's about noticing the light pouring through the trees in the morning, or the quiet rhythm of rain pattering on the roof of my van. Those fleeting moments that remind you what it actually means to feel alive. Success defies a single finish line. It's found in the way that you choose to live each day, learning to embrace each moment because it's yours. You invite yourself to embrace each uncertain, beautiful, and imperfect moment along the way. True success is found in the way that we immerse ourselves with openness, passion, and a willingness to experience all that life offers. Now I want to hear from you. What's one thing you once thought defined success, but doesn't anymore? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll engage with you there. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, and consider subscribing to my channel for more van life, outdoor, and travel content. And before you head out, check out this next video right here to see why van life became one of America's last housing lifelines. I'll see you over there.